2007 to 2013, the SAF contributed to the international community's reconstruction efforts to restore stability in Afghanistan. 492 SAF personnel were deployed across a wide range of capabilities. This is their story. On September 11, 2001, the world witnessed the shocking attacks on the World Trade Center. The Al-Qaeda terror network claimed responsibility. In Singapore, the authorities uncovered a local network of the Jemaah Islamiyah Regional Terrorist Organization, or JI. Many local JI members had received terrorist training in Afghanistan. The JI had planned to carry out terror attacks on various targets in Singapore. In fact, a few Singapore JI members were working with an Al-Qaeda operative to mount terror attacks on several foreign diplomatic missions here, before their plans were foiled with the arrest of key JI members in December 2001. A videotape containing reconnaissance footage of the area around Singapore's Yishun MRT station was also found in the rubble of Al-Qaeda military chief Muhammad Atif's home in Afghanistan after an airstrike by the US. A similar tape was also found in the home of one of the Singapore JI members. This was further evidence of the plan by Al-Qaeda and JI to carry out terrorist operations in Singapore. Recognizing that terrorism is a global problem that could affect Singapore, the Singapore Armed Forces began supporting the International Security Assistance Force, or ISAF, in multinational stabilization and reconstruction efforts in Afghanistan in 2007. The creation of ISAF was authorized by the United Nations in 2001 to assist the Afghan authorities in maintaining security in their country and to prevent Al-Qaeda from using it as a base to export terror. The SAF's work in Afghanistan was to become its longest and most diverse overseas mission to date.
The fight against transnational terrorism requires a concerted effort by the international community. The SAF contribution to Afghanistan supports the larger multinational effort to rebuild the country and prevent extremists from using it as a safe haven to breed and exploit terrorism to the rest of the world, including Singapore.
Afghanistan is situated between Central and South Asia, with a land area roughly 1,000 times that of Singapore. Its climate can vary between chilling winters and scorching summers. The rugged hills of Afghanistan stand witness to the nation's troubled past. From 1979 to the present, the country has seen numerous conflicts, including a civil war which eventually resulted in the Taliban coming to power. Al-Qaeda, leveraging on its close links with the Taliban, began using Afghanistan as a base to export terror to the rest of the world. Before the SAF joined ISAF's efforts, it sent in a needs assessment and survey team to gather first-hand information on the needs of the Afghan people, how the SAF could best contribute, and to understand the possible challenges for its servicemen.
Okay, based on the assessment made during the trip, the NAS team put forward two main recommendations. One is the construction of a Bamiyan dental clinic within the Bamiyan hospital. Second is to construct breaches in Bamiyan itself.
Before setting out on the operation, servicemen had to go through a pre-deployment training package in Singapore. This brought a sense of realism to the training and refreshed servicemen on critical skills relevant to what they could face on Afghan soil. Each serviceman also underwent additional training in Kuwait before deploying to Afghanistan. There they would familiarize themselves further with coalition tactics and procedures.
When you are in theatre, the situation is never stabilized. You have to have always the alert frame of mind so that you are prepared for anything that happens inside.
US Army simulators were used to sharpen our servicemen's ability to deal with medical and situational contingencies.
Quickly, What we do is we try to simulate here as a combat situation where that we can stress a soldier, where they can also be able to practice their skills in a situation where it's stressful like it would be in a combat situation itself.
Such realism in training was necessary, as servicemen were soon to find out that the missions they were about to face were both challenging and potentially perilous. Bamiyan, which translates to the shining light, is situated on the ancient Silk Route between China and the Middle East. It was also the first area of deployment for the SAF during Operation Blue Ridge. Responding to the request of the governor of Bamiyan, the SAF sent in a 5-man dental team to assist the New Zealand Defence Force's reconstruction effort.
The good thing that we did is that not only we provide dental care, we also train proficient dentists and dental assistants so that they can provide sustainable dental care to the people of Bamiyan.
Once the clinic was set up, patients travelled for days to receive treatment. The dental team spent 4 months in Bamiyan, treating close to 1,000 patients. Apart from overcoming the language barrier, servicemen also had to be sensitive to the social norms of the Afghans. The SAF's construction engineering team faced a difficult situation trying to complete their task of building bridges, and the challenge wasn't just a physical one.
While building the bridge at Chatara site, we faced a problem as the bridge actually cut into some plots of the owners. So we actually approached the local authority, and of course at the end the local authorities actually helpfully spoke to the owners. The owners actually understand by giving up parts of his land, it was an advantage to the general public, because the general public is going to be able to utilize this bridge across to the far bank.
Prior to the arrival of the SAF team, villagers used a fallen tree to cross streams. Eventually, the SAF team built a culvert and 2 bridges to connect the people of Chapdara and Monara. Recognizing the need for clean running water, the SAF deployed a 6-man construction team to carry out various water treatment projects in the Bamiyan region. 2 water wells were constructed, benefiting about 2,500 Afghan villages. Although dry and desert-like, in winter, the conditions in Bamiyan can become unbearably cold, with temperatures dipping to -30 degrees Celsius. During the winter months, when it was difficult to carry out construction projects, the SAF winter deployment teams distributed humanitarian aid supplies to the population, while the construction engineering teams conducted land surveys for projects to be carried out in the summer. In most areas of Afghanistan, healthcare is a luxury. It's not unusual for villagers to travel for days to receive treatment. The Faladi Valley, with a population of 15,000, was in dire need of a healthcare facility. The SAF engineering team decided to build a local clinic to serve the community and relieve some of the workload of the Bamiyan Provincial Hospital.
Here can do minor surgery, no issue, but those more complicated one where you need x-ray and whatnot, they need to go to the hospital. But anything less than that, this place will be able to do it. Yeah.
By helping to provide access to basic necessities such as clean water, medical and dental care, the SAF improved the lives of more than 24,000 Afghans in the Bamiyan province. Even as the SAF continued its reconstruction efforts in Bamiyan province, it was also called upon to support the Dutch-led Provincial Reconstruction Team, PRT, in Oruzgan province by providing healthcare and ward capabilities. Oruzgan is situated in the center of Afghanistan, and its landscape is largely mountainous. Only 1/5 of its land area is flat. The first 2 rotations of 20-man medical teams were sent to multinational base Tarin Kort, or MBTK, to work alongside the US, Netherlands and Australia. They provided emergency healthcare treatment for ISAF and Afghan servicemen, and also treated Afghan civilians. Many of the casualties here were victims of improvised explosive devices, and the team was often under pressure to treat these patients within the golden hour.
The golden hour refers to a concept that when a patient is severely injured, mortality starts going up. In other words, his chances of dying starts going up if there's any delay, typically beyond 60 minutes. There was one occasion when we took 9 patients in a space of an hour. Now, you have to understand that we have 2 operating theatres, 3 ICU beds. It was an example where the requirements were going to exceed the resources. And that's what runs through your head when you see these patients. You are constantly trying to assess and reassess them.
Major NS Dr. Philip Yao was one of a team of 3 operationally ready NS men that included 2 surgeons and an anaesthetist who put their civilian jobs on hold to join the SAF's efforts in Afghanistan.
I think the bigger difference is not so much the difference in clinical practice. The difference is being away from home and family and away from a civilian routine in a military setting. That's probably the bigger difference than the actual clinical care.
With the spike in rocket attacks by insurgents on Tarin Court, ISAF was looking for ways to better protect MBTK. After an initial site survey, the SAF concluded that its weapon locating radar would be able to provide critical early warning against mortar and rocket attacks. Dubbed the Shield of Safety by its ISAF partners, the SAF's weapon locating radar detachment detected every single incoming rocket during its 15-month deployment.
Our eyes must focus on the screen. That's why the faster we react, the people on the ground, they got more time to so-called take cover, run to Casco wall. Because when the target pop out, we only got 2 or 3 seconds to react.
Apart from working with ISAF forces, the SAF also contributed to the coalition's efforts by helping train Afghan National Security Forces, or ANSF, to better prepare them to take charge of the security of their own country. A major threat faced by both the ANSF and Afghan civilians was the use of improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, by insurgents. In partnership with the Australian Defence Force, the SAF deployed a team of counter-IED trainers to train a team of ANSF instructors who would then be able to pass on their knowledge to their comrades.
I remember one of the times where I was having tea with one of my trainees. I asked him a very common question which I normally ask most of my trainees, which was, why did you join the army in the first place? And the only reason why he joined the army was because he had witnessed his fellow colleagues being killed by IEDs, and therefore he saw the need to make sure that he trained himself to be equipped with that capability to deal with such a threat in the future.
The SAF also sent an unmanned aerial vehicle, or UAV, task group to Orisgan to aid ISAF in the detection of insurgent threats. This task group was the SAF's largest detachment, with 52 SAF personnel from the Army and the Republic of Singapore Air Force. The images received by the UAV task group had to be analysed, a task for the SAF's Imagery Analysis Team, or IAT. Although the initial plan was for only one IAT team to be deployed alongside the UAV task group, their contribution to the effort in Orisgan was so valued by ISAF that 9 more rotations followed. The positive regard for the SAF's efforts in Afghanistan was spreading throughout the ISAF community, so it was no surprise that the SAF was called to do more, moving it into the next phase of deployment. Kabul is the capital of Afghanistan, its largest city and a center of culture and learning. But before ISAF's military operations, Kabul was also used by terrorist groups as a base for planning their attacks. This was also where the reconnaissance video of the Yishun MRT station was found. To ensure the safety and security of its deployed troops, it was necessary for SAF commanders to be plugged into ISAF's command and control in theatre. 6 national contingent commanders were deployed at ISAF HQ in Kabul, taking on the responsibilities of coordinating the SAF's deployments across Afghanistan and building relationships with ISAF counterparts.
The National Command Element was deployed from November 2009 in anticipation of the SAF's increased footprint in Afghanistan. Our role as a National Command Element was to provide the support to our servicemen of detachment who are doing the missions on the ground and also to ensure the safety and well-being of our servicemen in theatre.
The SAF also expanded its contributions by providing training assistance to the ANSF. A team of SAF military institutional trainers joined an Australian-led team at the Kabul Military Training Centre to help the ANSF in artillery doctrine development and to train Afghan soldiers on the proper use of their artillery guns. A total of 28 live firings was successfully completed.
Okay, the Afghan have this common saying, Shona ba Shona, which means shoulder to shoulder. Once you see the entire live firing is over, they achieve the goal, they feel very proud that the coalition force have teach them something and they are able to defend themselves through this entire lesson we have taught them. And this is when Shona ba Shona is very prominent.
This mantra of shoulder to shoulder was embodied throughout the SAF's 6-year deployment in Afghanistan. The SAF stood shoulder to shoulder with its ISAF counterparts, assisting its partners where appropriate. In recognition of the SAF servicemen's efforts, some were awarded medals by their international counterparts.
I am deeply honoured and humbled by the recognition they gave me. I guess it's a testimony and it speaks volumes of the quality of officers that have played a part in the overall mission in Afghanistan.
The SAF earned the respect of its international counterparts for its contributions in Afghanistan.
A few months here we were getting a pretty high rate of indirect fire, and it gave us early warning that fire was coming in. It gave me time to take cover before the round exploded, only about 40 metres away. So I owe a lot to the Arthur Detachment. I've got to say, very professional. I have a very high regard for the Singaporean Armed Forces, for their leadership and for the way the soldiers conduct themselves professionally around this base and in the way they do their job.
They are on time, on target every day. The most important thing that they provide, the world-class intelligence and the information to the soldiers on the ground. It is an honor to serve with the Singapore soldiers who are absolutely professional.
The Singapore Army has been a valuable contributor to the ability of the Afghans to take the lead, from training their artillery forces to supporting us with intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capability, to assisting us in our strategic communications, to the medical and dental support. All those contributions is also something that the people of Singapore should be proud of.
Words of appreciation also came from the Afghan military and civilians who directly benefited from the efforts of the SAF.
I fully appreciate the support of the Singaporean military here, and they had a big contribution for Bamiyan people.
دیگه همکارایش بسیار متشکریم که از ما سالی به تمام اینجا بوده کار کردن نظارت کردن بسیار خوشحال هستیم.
However, all this would have not been possible without the support the servicemen received from their families back home.
The support of the families of our deployed servicemen is very important to the success of the mission. They not only provide physical support in terms of sending parcels and encouragements, but the moral support in terms of giving them the peace of mind to be able to contribute effectively in theatre is also very important. So from that regard, we spare no effort to thank the family and to engage them, to allow them to know what is happening in theatre, so that they are able to provide the constant support that our servicemen need in theatre.
Quite proud that my husband is representing the country in this way. It has always been his dream to actually serve the nation in this manner. Of course, as a wife, I feel very worried that he is deployed to a country like Afghanistan. But at the same time, SAF has actually helped to allay my fears and concerns, because they have family briefings to actually tell us how the situation like there.
With the Afghan National Security Forces close to assuming full responsibility for the country's security, the SAF concluded its deployments in Afghanistan. To mark this occasion, a ceremony was held at multinational base Taran Court, officiated by Chief of Army Major General Ravinder Singh.
Today marks a significant milestone for the Singapore Armed Forces as we complete our 6-year-long operation in Afghanistan. Our operational journey in Afghanistan has been a successful and fulfilling one. We have gained much operational and professional experience by working alongside our coalition partners. On behalf of the Singapore Armed Forces, I thank you all once again for the valuable support that you've given us. It has been a great honor and privilege to serve alongside with you, and you have our deepest respect and gratitude.
By June this year, the SAF will conclude our deployments in Afghanistan. By then, the SAF would have completed 6 years of operations in Afghanistan as part of an international coalition. 6 long years, 6 meaningful years, 6 dangerous years. Singapore can be satisfied that the SAF has done its job well in preventing the export of terrorism from Afghanistan and preparing the Afghans for self-governance. These were our 2 missions, and I think we've done it very well.
The SAF's will to assist the international community in the global fight on terrorism was demonstrated through its efforts in Afghanistan. Operation Blue Ridge will be remembered as a time when the SAF stood side by side with its international counterparts to effect a change in the lives of the Afghan people. Side by side, shoulder to shoulder, Shona ba Shona.